Crisis in consciousness. Recent events have proved to be very painful, very confusing, and very hurtful for so many people, that it seems fitting to bring this up, even though I don't really want to. It seems that any word that I may say or write can easily be taken out of context, or misunderstood, as when tempers flare and emotions are triggered, mind slides tend to operate, and dominate in the landscape. I speak to the larger controller agendas, that are behind influencing the collective consciousness movement, in order to feed into larger systems of mind control programming, as my role is to identify these schisms. Sometimes people do not hear what I'm saying from the overview perspective of the collective consciousness on our planet, because they do not perceive the existence of the collective fields. As a result, sometimes a person may take an observation of the field as my personal opinion, and then they are easily offended if the perspective differs from their own. I want to remind us all that there's always room for all of our own experiences, and in my view, there is nothing to be offended about in having a difference of opinion, or range of experiences. As a person, it is the right to have our own experiences and perceptions, and to express our experience is a basic human right. However, what I hope to express is of importance, in speaking in terms that create unity, and to not take offense at others' opinions because they are different from your own. What I've tried to convey is that the larger system is broken, and corrupt, and until the control system is revealed, along with disclosure of off-planet control mechanisms, it really doesn't matter who becomes the face puppet for the masses. The strings are on everyone that take on that role, and they're put there on purpose to fulfill a larger agenda. I'm sorry that is the reality on Earth, and I report the unpopular perspective of current energetic observations. We, as a collective, have to change the system by changing how we think, and changing how we treat people in our own small microcosm. It starts in our own personal life, in our own personal relationships, and in our relationship to group consciousness, like in our community, and that is where change needs to happen. Change will not occur if we are blaming others, hostile, and emotionally triggered, or we're feeling personally insulted and divided from each other. In order to be effective, we have to see the larger game in play. The game is divide and conquer of humanity. The goal is to create division amongst us all, and that is what the controllers really want. So, my question is, if you know what they want, why give it to them? Why become an agent of anger, hostility, or feeling offended by letting them get you emotionally triggered, and upset towards committing aggressive or destructive actions? It is critical to understand that this is the reaction they want from you. That's what they're betting on. They can press a button and the majority of uninformed people will jump in the direction that they have been mostly influenced by, the broadcast of the mainstream media promoting division within hostile diatribe. That's what they want, knee-jerk automaton behavior that the masses will follow, in order to stay in the underpinnings of the controller program of divide and conquer. And they're culling the harvest of those emotional energies in the collective consciousness right now with alien machinery. Please don't feed them, as they will only hurt you and others around you. The circus sideshow, that had become the USA election, and the results, has deeply disturbed many people. People that have short emotional fuses, and big pain bodies, and may be ready to lash out with anger or cast blame. Many may be feeling offended and upset because deep down they are sick and tired of feeling unheard, marginalized, abused and victimized. The issue is, we have to see who, and what is behind that enslavement system really, because it's not Washington, D.C. politicians that are really calling the shots that run the larger system of control. Please look to the bigger perspective of social engineering, to controlled dehumanization, because it leads off-planet and it's not the humans we see in the media or on TV, that are the ones in control. We're entering a time of great uncertainty and instability. When people are fearful the system is collapsing, it's a normal response to want to blame a person, to blame a face, an identity, to label them as an enemy, to find someone to blame, as if we can identify the enemy to blame that is going to bring us a sense of normalcy. We have left normalcy. We do not need to create even more scapegoats and social pariahs in the box of the 3D mainstream culture. We need more loving kindness and greater acceptance for all kinds of people. We are now in the surreal reality of bifurcation, and this is what it looks like. We need to find calm and inner peace when traveling in these chaotic waves, for if we do not find our inner sanctum, these collective consciousness forces will carry us into even greater depths of anger or suffering. When people are confused, they lash out with anger or blame, in order to make sense out of something that is incomprehensible and bewildering to their context for reality. This time is the dismantling of the 3D, the breakdown of the old order, and it has to happen for people to wake up and realize who has been behind the control agenda the whole time. So, this is the time to feel empathy for the fear that people have because they do not understand the dismantling of social and governmental structures, and that this is needed to reveal the truth of who is given power on this planet. As spiritual warriors, as galactic light warriors, we must stop consenting to the thoughts of hatred, thoughts of division, thoughts that we are personally offended, because this only hurts and divides us. We must stop acting out hate and violence in every way we can gain control over our personal impulses. People tend to hate what they are deeply scared of. People may hold hatred for their unresolved emotional conflicts and fears, as most people do not like to change or evolve. Many people hold disdain and hatred for what they do not understand. This leads us to the necessity of cleaning out personal fear and fear programs, which means clearing out the negative ego. When we are in fear, we are not dealing with our own personal pain because the anger, the blame, and the hatred is what disguises the pain we have. It's disguising the pain that we are feeling deep down inside. We must be brave and courageous at this time, to be willing to see the pain, to face our own pain, and to face others' pain. This is the only way we can get beyond the fears we have and beyond the anger that covers it up. This hurts us inside and it runs very deep in the collective consciousness of humanity. Can you feel the pain in the collective inside yourself? Find empathy for that pain because you are not alone. Find the common links that bond us to every human being that is in pain on this earth, and they too are desperately looking for relief and searching for answers. It is very hard to speak unpleasant and brutal truths while holding unconditional love and compassion for others, and I commit to do the best I can. We must unify our common human bond and find unconditional love, compassion, and empathy for everyone in these situations, and realize our elected leaders are a reflection of the consciousness work we all must do. This is not about spiritual elitism. It is about doing the right thing in alignment to the ways we can be productive to connect with higher consciousness, as the starting point to find resolution of the many problems that plague our world. We cannot solve these issues with ego fears and divide and conquer strategy. These issues can only be addressed with principles of loving kindness, compassion, and empathy. Looking to what's happening in our world today, we are in a crisis over consciousness. The primary crisis in our world is not the political framework. It is not the cultural framework, or the religious framework, that is used to enforce mass spiritual oppression. The crisis we're facing is inside of ourselves, and inside all of humanity, and it extends to the entire planet. This is a crisis of consciousness. The lack of self-awareness combined with the utter lack of consciousness, results in an inability to directly experience our true essential nature as spiritual beings. As long as we cannot recognize the true essential divine nature that exists inside of ourselves, we are unable to recognize the same essential nature inside everyone around us, and which is inherent in all living things. May our community find empathy for all of our members and friends, to extend that compassion to those around us who are suffering and feeling the collective pain. Let's hold a silent space for loving kindness and empathy for all of us here now, extending it to the entire community and then to the entire world. May loving kindness and peace be with your heart in these unstable and uncertain times. Practicing loving kindness meditations activate and strengthen areas of the brain and nervous system that are responsible for empathy and increased emotional intelligence. The practice always begins with developing a loving acceptance of yourself. If resistance is experienced, then it indicates that feelings of unworthiness are present. The practice of loving kindness is designed to overcome any feelings of self-doubt or negativity. Once you have developed this loving kindness for yourself, then you are ready to systematically develop loving kindness towards others. Visualization: bring to mind a mental picture that exudes loving kindness and brings warmth to your heart. Visualize yourself or the person the feeling is directed towards, returning the loving feeling to you, or just the shared feeling of being joyous. Through reflection, reflect on the highest and most positive qualities of a person you know, and the acts of kindness you are aware of. Make an affirmation towards generating more of these positive qualities in yourself, more goodness, and strong virtues. Reflect upon making positive statements of kindness directed to yourself, using your own words. Verbally, when we speak inspiring words or phrases which contain meaning of loving kindness, they are the most effective because the subconscious mind hears your voice. Focus on an internalized mantra or meaningful phrase such as loving kindness and God sovereign free. When the positive feelings arise, switch from the mental focus of the exercise onto the actual emotional feeling, as it is the emotional feeling that is the primary goal. If you lose the sensation of the loving kindness, the feeling and warmth opening in your heart, return to the exercise, to bring back or strengthen the emotional feeling. When you have the loving kindness feeling in your heart, you can project that quality of frequency in all directions, north, south, east and west and 360 degrees. Connecting that emotional feeling of loving kindness into loved ones, spiritual communities, towns, and countries around the world.